Hey everybody, it's Natalie with Treasures and Mini, and this is the second card that we're going to be making today using a second collection from the Flavor of the Month card kit from Scrapping for Less. So this is the one that I've already made, and today the one we're going to make is basically the same, but the elements on it will be a little different. So with the collection that we're using, these are some of the ephemera that came in that collection. We're going to use the anchor for this card, and I liked this background. I feel like you could use that for something too. This is 6 of the papers that came with this collection. This is a different one than we used in our last video. The first 3 we used on the card that you already saw, and we're going to use these 3 on the card that we make today. We're also going to use this stamp set that came in the kit by Neat and Tangled. So I already have the base of the card and I cut out my panels, and I wanted to show you that when I have a lot of layers like this, I take some Tombow Mono and I put a small dot of glue on the back of it. I let that glue dry because when it's dry, it's tacky. And that way I can layer up my panels before I actually glue them down and be able to make better decisions on if my card is going in the direction that I want it to go. So what you're going to need is a piece that is 4 1/4 by 11 inches long. This is our base. And then you're going to score in from the edge in 3 inches on one side. And then you're going to flip it around. And on the other side, you're going to score in 2 3/4 of an inch. That way, once you've folded this with your bone folder, you'll have a little bit of an overlap. So once I knew that those were the panels and everything that I wanted, I went on with some Tombow and glued everything down. And now I want to start doing some stamping. So I cut out a small square of the green patterned paper, and with some broken china, I'm going to stamp just the bottom part or the top word part of this stamp set from Neat and Tangled. I think it says, "Hope anchors the soul." Now things are going to go a little crazy here because stuff wasn't working quite like I wanted, but I wanted to share with y'all the entire process so that you can see it doesn't come out perfect the first time. So using my mini Misty, I'm going to stamp this, and you can see it is not very dark. I stamped it twice and it still wasn't showing up much. So then I got the idea, let's stamp it in some white pigment ink first, that would help cover up the green. And I stamped it 2 or 3 times with some white pigment ink, and then I let that dry, and I came back and stamped it 2 more times with the broken china. And it looks really neat here, and I am liking it, but as it started drying, I just felt like it didn't pop enough, so I gave in, and with some Versamark black ink, I just stamped over it with the black. And I do think this looks really neat. It kind of has almost like a, well, I don't even know how to describe it, like a weathered look to it, because you can see the white and you can see the blue. I'm going to punch this out with one of my circle punches, and with the next size up, I do the polka dotted paper from the pack, but because patterned paper is not as thick as cardstock, I also punch out the same size and a piece of red cardstock, and I'm just gluing those together, because I need this to be a little thicker than it would be just the pattern paper alone. So this is kind of how I want it to lay. So I'm going to go ahead and with some Tombow glue down the sentiment circle that we have. I'm just going to center it. And the green twine around this, I want to do kind of the same thing on this one. So with the pencil, I'm just going to do light dots to kind of make sure that I do the correct spacing, and then I'm going back with a poker tool and I'm going to poke the holes in. You could measure this and do it perfectly, but I didn't. Now I apologize. I thought my camera was running and it wasn't. But all I did was take some cracked pistachio twine from Stampin' Up, and I just weaved it in and out of those holes that we made. And then I tied a bow at the bottom. Now you saw me using some glossy accents, and that's because my bow was kind of flopping over and not staying very bow-like. So with a tiny dot of glossy accents, I just put a dot down and then stuck the bow where I wanted it to, and it dries and holds it in place. And then with some pop dots on just the bottom half of the circle, I'm going to go ahead and place it on my card. Now to add some pretty little elements, and I've laid these out, and this is what I think I want. This little tag came in the actual first collection that we used last week, but I'm going to go ahead and use it on this card too. So I just used some vintage photo to kind of distress the edges of that, and then I'm using this anchor from the little sticker ephemera pack that came in this collection. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my glossy accents, kind of like I did on the bow, but I wanted it to almost kind of look whimsical, or like the wind was blowing, and the bottoms of my twine are just kind of flowing pretty. So all I do is put a dot of glossy accents down, lay my bow in it, and kind of hold it in place with just a straight pin for a few seconds. It literally takes like 15-20 seconds for it to dry enough to hold it. And then you can make it go any which way you want. So I did that for both pieces. I did both of them going off to one side because I really liked the flowers on the pattern paper on the other side, and I didn't want to cover up that. So now that we have the twine and everything glued down, going the direction that I wanted, I am going to get out some sequins. And you can see that I already did that off camera. I used the sequins that came with the kit, and I got out some rhinestones from my own kit. I used white, blue, red, and green. And literally, guys, I played with that for like 30 minutes. Now here is where everything goes crazy again. Thought that it would be cool if my wording up here was glittery. So I got out my Wink of Stella and I started going, and you can see it takes off all of the black. And I did it on the H, and I figured, well, I might as well just keep going. So I finished the word hope, and then I went back in with a black jelly roll pen after it dried, because the Wink of Stella did make it wet, so I needed to let it dry. Otherwise, it would have just peeled my paper up. I went over the entire word hope with my gel pen, and then I kind of did it a little bit over the rest of the words, trying to get it to match as much as possible. And it doesn't really match. And so, but I went with it. What I could have done is, before, you can see here, I covered in glossy accents after I was done. If I didn't like that before I'd done that, I could have just cut out an entire of the circle, re-stamped it, and glued it right on top. But I decided just to go with this and show you how it turns out. So I used glossy accents to glue down my sequins and stuff like that as well. And I also, you'll see 2 red enamel dots that I did. Now I haven't stamped anything on the inside, but these are the 2 cards that I made with that second collection out of the 4 that you get in the Flavor of the Month card kit. This is June's, from the company Scrapping for Less. I got the Banana Split card kit. At the end of this video, I'm going to link to the video that does a walkthrough of the kit. So if you want to go to that and learn more about this, I encourage you to click on it at the end of the video. This is the sequin pack that came with the kit too. So please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you're not already. And remember to click on the little bell so it will notify you every time I post a new video. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of my subscribers so far. You guys have helped me more than you could possibly know. You know, I had surgery in April, and since April, all the videos that I've been doing from a recliner in my living room, and it's been pretty difficult on me. But reading all of your comments, and sorry, I'm about to cry. Reading all of your beautiful comments has really helped me. Remember, you can find me on Facebook at Treasures of Minnie Craft Corner. I'm also on Instagram now at Treasures of Minnie, Pinterest, Treasures of Minnie, and I have a blog. It's also treasuresofminnie.blogspot.com. Hugs and loves from my craft room to yours. Bye.